And I'll start off with, first of all, David, obviously something we're asking all managers today is really your reaction to Frank Lampard's time at Chelsea coming to an end, and any advice really, I suppose, for a manager suffering a setback like that so relatively early in his career.
Well, I'm disappointed for Frank because I saw Frank as certainly one of the most up-and-coming young English managers in the country, and I think it's a big thing that we do try and encourage to get so many of our own British managers into the big leagues if we can. So I'm disappointed for Frank, but no, I'm sure he'll come back. He'll learn from it. He done a great job last year with the team. He done a really good job, I think, when he had so many of the young players who'd come through from the academy, and they looked a really good side last season, especially. And it just seemed a little bit harder for him this year. But you know, I wish him good luck. He's a good guy, Frank, and I'm sure he'll take time off and then come back and get better with it.
For yourselves, David, I read an analysis piece the other day, and it centred around Mikel Antonio, but in it said at his peak, when fit, he's capable of leading the line of a team heading for Europe, and the signs increasingly suggest the team behind him are good enough to get there too. What do you think, and where do you see West Ham now in the race for Europe, given you could obviously move into the top four with victory over Palace?
Well, I think we're a long way off that at the moment, Vinny, but I think that we are work in progress, and I think the team are doing an excellent job. Look, we want to be ambitious, but the thing about West Ham is we always get asked these questions after we win a few games, and quite often we probably answer it in a way where we want to do the right thing and we say the right thing, but overall we're a team which grown. This time last year we were just outside the bottom three, trying to make sure we avoided relegation. So I think that where we've come is a big step. It would be an incredible step if we went further than that, but we'll try to. I'm not saying we won't, and I'm not saying that we can't, but the realistic answer to that would be it's probably well beyond our reach.
I just wonder as well how difficult local derbies make it for you. You've already drawn 1-1 with Palace this season. It's one of 6 London derbies already, if you include the FL Cup game against Charlton as well. So when you're dealing with local rivalries so often, what difficulties does that present for you?
Well, I think when you manage a club in London, you're always going to get quite a lot of games. You know, we've got a lot of sides down here which would be seen as derbies, rivals. But going to Crystal Palace is obviously another close encounter game for us. Going up against Roy, who's been a brilliant manager wherever he's been, and great results and longevity, which is fantastic. So it'll be a tough game for us, but we have to try and keep our form up and concentrate on what we do.
Obviously, your last defeat came in a London derby against Chelsea over a month ago now. Unbeaten in 7, 2 draws, 3 wins in the Premier League, 5 wins on the bounce, all competitions as well. You kind of alluded to the form that you're on, David. I just wonder, when it comes to your own personal future as well, how relaxed about it you are at the minute. Is it a case of wait for talks in the summer, or in general terms as well, how much would you like to stay beyond even next season, given what you're building at the club?
I've said several times, I've really enjoyed my time here at West Ham. I enjoy the people I work for, I enjoy being round the club. But you know, I think when you've been out of work for a couple of times, I think you take things quite easily. You don't get too sort of tied up and thinking I need a 3 or a 4 year deal. You just want to look and sort of get on with the job. I don't really want anything to disrupt what we're doing at the moment. So I'm sure I'll look at things in the coming months, but there's no great hurry.
Just finally for me, David, standard question with a week to go in the transfer window. What hopes still of adding something between now and that deadline?
I would say I'm hopeful, but again, I can't promise anything because we don't know. We've not got anything absolutely definite. We're trying a couple of things at the moment. They may or may not come off, so we'll have to wait and see.
Thanks, Vinny. Faye?
Hi, David.
Hi, Faye.
Just wondered what team news you've got for us. Is everyone fit? Anyone out?
No, I think we're okay, Faye. I think we've got Mickey Antonio, who, as you know, has been out for a while. Mickey Antonio. Arthur Mazawaku, sorry, I got the words wrong there. Arthur been out with a knee injury. Apart from that, we don't have too many others, and we're very fortunate at the moment. We've got most people fit.
I was going to say that would have been a blow if it was Mikel, for sure.
Yeah, that's
obviously scored the winner in your last 2 Premier League matches. How much of a difference does it make to your team, not just having him back fit, but having him in form?
Huge. huge difference he makes, because he's such an important player for us. And as I say, I think he's still a little bit off his best when he come back after lockdown. We've got to get him back to that level. But if he keeps giving us a goal a game, then I'll not be complaining, that's for sure. And hopefully he can continue on his run. But no, I still see improvement from Mick from where he's been, and hopefully he can do that.
Crystal Palace not in a particularly good moment at the minute, but still a really dangerous side. What are you expecting from them on Tuesday?
Well, I always think that going to Crystal Palace is a tough game for Andy. They're incredibly well organised with the manager. I think that going to Selhurst Park has always been difficult. So look, we'll go there. We'll try and go there with confidence, but we know we played them just recently. This is the quick turnaround game this week. So we're back to play Palace, and a hard away game. That's the way I look at it.
Just finally, Said Benrahma still searching for his first goal for the club. Must be hugely frustrating for him and for you as well. What's he working on in training? Because surely once he does score one, that's going to open the floodgates.
I think the biggest thing we'd say I'm working on was getting used to the Premier League. I don't think we need to work on any one specific thing on him, but I think it's a bit like you always bring people and you expect so much so quick, and quite often the boys are brought from the Championship. I've never started them quickly. I've always taken my time and tried to bring them on at the right speed. But because of the media, because the supporters, everybody wants things done much, much quicker nowadays. So I think Said's doing well. I think he's come on nicely, and there's lots of parts of the games what I want him to improve in. But I think it's a big jump from the Championship to the Premier League, and it doesn't always happen overnight for everybody.
Thanks, Faye. Ian?
Hi, David. How are you?
How you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Just going back to one on Frank Lampard, you were at Everton for an awful long time. But these days, those sort of tenures of managers now seem, in the distance. I mean, why is it that managers come and go so quickly? And you've seen it throughout your career.
It's difficult. I think that it's not. I think it's not that it's not fair, because we're in the business where we understand its results, but you need people who are going to trust you. And when you don't do so well for a little bit of time, then you might get a bit of time given. But I hear people talk about it all the time on radio, continually talking about why managers may should lose their job, and I've been there myself, so I don't think it's very nice. And I think that just overall, I think it's really disappointing Frank's gone, because I think he was a good young up and coming manager. Needed time, needed a bit of room to assess things. But I don't work for Chelsea. I'm not the owner, so I can't make that judgment. They're the ones who've made the judgment.
I mean, you can make some history for West Ham against Palace if you win. West Ham never won 6 games in a row at the start of a calendar year. At the moment, you're very much on the up.
Well, we hope we can continue that. We're not getting carried away with it. We certainly don't take it for granted. And, we're not going to come out at West Ham in the past and promise something which I can't deliver. I want to try and deliver something. I hoped that it was not going to be relegation. I hoped that we were going to be much higher than that. We have done. We've got ourselves in a really strong position. And we're now in a position where we can try and look upwards, and we are. We're trying to be ambitious in our own way, but we're also trying to be respectful for where we've come from, and obviously all the teams around us as well, who have got some very good teams below us as well at this moment in time.
At what point do you keep that respectfulness, but come out and say, listen, we can finish top 6 this season?
No, I probably won't do that. I might tell the players that behind closed doors, but I certainly wouldn't come out and publicise it, because I think that it's quite often, and that's where you want to get shot down. But I'm trying to be ambitious. I want us to move forward. But I think you'd have to say that we've done a lot of that already this year. We've made big strides forward already. And sometimes then, folk want even more. I want more. But I know that it can only be small steps, and we're in amongst a lot of incredibly good sides. And as I said earlier, there's quite a lot of good sides below us as well, and we're going to have to play really well to keep them away from us.
Finally, there is only a week to go in the transfer market. You've been linked with the likes of Jesse Lingard and other players too. But in a sense, how much was the weekend where you brought on academy players, and I think ended up with 3 or 4 academy players on the pitch at the end, and one of them scored. How much do you look at that and think, maybe I don't need to go and buy players? Maybe the youngsters can come through, and we've seen it at Arsenal. We saw it last year at Chelsea. You know, the youngsters can come through and achieve for you what you want this season.
Well, I've always looked first and foremost, you look within your own club to see what you've got. You know, when you talk about last week, you know, we've documented it quite well that we could probably do with another centre forward, but Yarmolenko played really well as a centre forward in the game. So it gives us an option or something to think about. You know, I'm always wanting to give young players opportunities. I've done it throughout my career as a manager. But what needs to happen is those young players need to get the moment right. They need to be training well. They need to be in good physical condition. That when they get the opportunity, they take their chance. So we want to promote them, and hopefully we can get a few more closer to the first team as we go on.
Thanks, Ian. Cameras off, please.